society who wants to come along and change the fundamental definitions of pillars of society. It has significant ramifications.
And earlier tonight, Dr. Carson gave us this statement. It reads, quote, "I regret the comments I made last week on this program, and I'm truly sorry if I offended some. It was certainly not my intention to equate those groups. They are obviously not comparable. Now, those who know me well know I have no hate in my heart for anyone. I have long believed in equal rights for gays, just not the redefinition of marriage. The real issue here is whether marriage should be redefined and what the ramifications of doing that are. I've been struck by how frightened people are to express their true feelings on the issue. It's what I was talking about at the National Prayer Breakfast and will require both courage and kindness to reclaim the values of this nation." Joining me now with reaction are the chief strategist for the TeaParty.net, and that's Niger Innes, and civil rights attorney, talk radio KBC 790 talk show host Leo Terrell. Welcome back, both of you. Good to see you. Leo.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Long before, now if you listen very closely to what he said, and he said that it didn't come out basically the way he wanted it to, but he said again and again that nobody should have the ability to change the historical definition of marriage. That to me, this issue is only a side issue. The big issue, even before this, is if you're African American and you're conservative, you are vilified, you are demonized, you are called names, you are attacked. That is the ongoing epidemic that goes on. There's no freedom of speech for African American conservatives in America.
No, that's not
yes,
true.
It is.
Sean Hannity, you created a monster. Ben Carson, you're a doctor. You're not a politician. This man,
and you're a
Senator
lawyer.
Rob
You're not a
Portman
talk show host.
Vice President Dick Cheney, Ben Carson thinks your children are social deviant. This guy is a
That's
monster.
not what he said.
You created
That's not what he said.
You created him.
What do you mean I created him?
This guy
God
is a
created him.
I'll tell you why.
I'm not the creator. I don't breathe life into people.
Dr. Ben Carson put his size 12 foot in his mouth because ever since
Leo,
that prayer breakfast,
take a break.
you have had
Leo,
it all.
I've known you for a long time. You put your foot in your mouth all the time.
Oh,
You've
no.
done it a lot in your life.
This guy has equated homosexuality to bestiality. He has made a big mistake.
So he apologized. Is it a death sentence? He can't speak out because he's a surgeon?
It's not good enough.
You know, the bigger issue here, Niger, is...
You have elevated this guy to 15 minutes of fame.
I like him. I
I
think he's a friend. He's articulate. He's smart. He's got common sense. Niger, this is an epidemic. African American, conservative, this is what happens. This happened before this whole issue even came up. They were attacking him on the left.
No question about it. And I disagree with my buddy Leo Terrell. I think Ben Carson is a hero. He's a wonderful role model. He's a credit to the race, the human race. He's an outstanding individual, and we need more. We need more individuals like Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, in politics, not less. And you know, for the students and for an intellectual institution that is supposed to be about welcoming different points of view, different ideas to a university setting.
Only 8.
This guy is a
I'm sure, Leo. I'm sure you are not for censorship. I'm sure you are not for censorship. That's not true. Dr. Ben Carson has been an outstanding individual. We gave him an award over 10 years ago. He's an outstanding role model for our country. And Leo Terrell, you should be ashamed.
He's talking about
you should be ashamed of promoting censorship. You are talking about censorship at an academic institution.
Hold on.
That is, Leo, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Leo, you put your foot in your mouth a lot. Wait a minute. Over the years, I've heard you say things. Oh, you've never apologized for things you said?
I know what I'm talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. Have you said things you regret?
He put his foot in his mouth.
Here's my question. Have you said things you regret?
Absolutely not. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a lawyer. I'm a community activist. I know what I'm doing. That's it. I got the credentials.
Let me give you another example.
I have the
Hang on a second. Now, compare the treatment of Dr. Carson, which has been over the top even before this statement. And let's go, for example, the president, it was nice to see him outside of Jeremiah Wright's church, and he went to see the Reverend Louis Leon in his sermon. And this is what was said during the sermon, reportedly. It drives me crazy when the captains of the religious right are always calling us back. For blacks to be back in the back of the bus, for women to be back in the kitchen, for immigrants to be back on their side of the border. Leo, can you name one person that's calling for those things? That's a question.
Oh, okay.
Leo, can you name
I
one
want to talk
person?
about Ben Carson.
Can you?
I want to talk about.
I'm asking you,
about Ben
but I'm
Carson.
talking about the double standard. Can you name one person that supports the views of Obama's new pastor?
Well, while Leo's thinking about it, let me mention the litany of horrors, the chamber of horrors of speakers, left-wing speakers that have had the opportunity, from Bill Ayers, who's a trustee at Northwestern University, to convicted cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal, who was a keynote speaker at an institution. I mean, come on, the hypocrisy is outrageous. And Leo, for you, an attorney, to be for Joe McCarthy,
why do you always take Sean's view? Why do you always an apologist for Sean Hannity?
Censorship.
Why?
I'm an apologist.
Why are you always an apologist for Sean Hannity?
Leo, I know the truth feels like hell, but it's
You're
just
not on
the
any
truth,
other program. You're not on any other program but Fox News and Sean Hannity.
It's getting too loud.
Why don't I see you on any other program?
Wait a minute, Leo. Hang on. Now let me go to the next.
You are one trick pony.
Leo, wait a minute.
You are only on one
We're going to
network.
go to
Fox News and the Sean Hannity program.
Cut their mics for a second. Hang on. No, wait a minute. Now I'm going to go to another point. Let's go to the race-baiting dog whistles over at NBC News. Now let's look at what they did, a segment about Walmart. Walmart's one of the biggest provider of jobs and opportunity for people around the country. Now listen to how that's portrayed on NBC News, in this case without Brian Williams.
It's sort of like all I could think about was when you're saying this is like sharecropping, except this is a giant company store, right? And the company store is feeding itself off of both the government and the people that it's enslaving. So if you have this system that's going in this constant circle of sharecropping, they're robbing both sides. They're robbing our government and they're robbing us, and they're robbing us because they won't even pay the taxes that they're supposed to pay.
All right. So we see the treatment of Ben Carson. We see the treatment of Obama's pastor from this weekend, nothing in the mainstream media. And then we see this on NBC, this comment that is made, hardly an uproar anywhere. And I want to ask Leo Terrell, does those things outrage you as much as Dr. Carson, who spent most of his life helping children and saving people's lives?
Let me think about that. No! Ben Carson is a doctor. Stay in the hospital. This woman was expressing her views about corporate America.
Stay in the courtroom.
Ben Carson, stay in the hospital. Hey, John, I've been in the community. I know what's going on out there. Niger's just an apologist. Dr. Carson, you created Dr. Carson ever since February 15th. All of a sudden, he knows everything about politics. You created a monster. You created a guy who has 15 minutes fame. He's out of time now. He has no more fame. He has no more.
You're friends with O.J. Simpson. You're calling Dr. Carson a monster. And you're friends with O.J.
Leo is a little bit of an intellectual tyrant and arbiter of who should be on TV, who should not be on TV. Leo, I agree with you. There are other programs that should have me on. I mean, I used to be a commentator for MSNBC and for CNN. So my breadth of experience and years we're working for the Congress of Racial Equality. You're right. There should be voices like mine and other black conservatives on a variety of networks, but there is a censorship that you and the likes of you are trying to promote
if you're a conservative,
the media and academia.
That's if you're a conservative African American. So, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Guys, good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And coming up,